What's a podcast? I like your show.
How did I get here? Welcome to the Shipe Sports Show.
Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to another episode of the Shipe Sports Talk Show. Welcome to our Super Bowl 51 special show. I'm your host, always, Matthew Shipe, joined by my co-host and the best producer out there, Paul.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
How you doing, Paul?
Good. I'm looking at a weird screen that just popped up for some reason. So if I close it and everything goes to crap, we'll do it again.
That's fine. Everything looks good to me, though, on your side. But joined always by my co-host, Anthony. Anthony, how are you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. Paul, the feed looks pretty good on YouTube right now.
I can hear it.
Yep, so everything's good to go. Unfortunately, Chris cannot be with us tonight. We're a little sad about that. He had some stuff, booing at him. He had some stuff he had taken care of. But this is our Super Bowl special show, Patriots versus Falcons. We're going to get into that, but real quick, we're going to touch on some D.C. local news. First off, Maryland Terrapin basketball, now up to 22 in the ranking. They're 19-2. Hopefully, after beating Ohio State tonight, they'll move up. I don't understand how a team with 2 losses is so low in the rankings, but hey, college basketball, what do you know? All these top seeds are losing, but Maryland can't seem to find a way. They are only one of 2 schools that have not lost on the road yet.
Interesting.
Only them and another school have not lost on the road, so they're doing pretty good away from home.
Fair enough.
Just quickly, the Maryland football. Looks like tomorrow they're going to secure the highest ranking recruiting class they've ever had. Big help with getting running back Anthony McFarland from DeMatha. He was the rated number 3 running back in all of the nation. I really like how this guy committed. He really, I guess you can say, snubbed Miami and Alabama with what he did. It was kind of cool. I know you're a Miami fan, Anthony. Sorry about that. But he really got their hopes up because he was committed, Miami. And then on last Tuesday, he's like, you know what? I'm going to hold off my commitment until Friday. Did some whole Snapchat thing where he says, where am I going? He got on the metro. He's thinking, okay, cool, he's going to College Park. Then he's at an airport. He has a ticket to Tuscaloosa and Miami. You're like, oh, he's going to one of those places if he's on the airport. Next couple tweets, he's at College Park rubbing the turtle's head. And you know what really upsets me is all the adults, all these college football fans that go on and just downgraded this kid for picking Maryland. Like, let the kid, he wanted to stay home, wanted to stay close to his family. Anthony, what do you think about people that do that to these high school kids that are recruiting, where people will get on and will downgrade them because they didn't pick their school?
You're always going to have those fans, and unfortunately that gives, a bad name for the rest of the fans that like that team, but there's no reason to attack the kid. He chose what he thought was best for his future, You want to joke around and say, you're going to regret that when you play Miami, yeah, but like seeing some of this other stuff, they were right, and it's downright sickening. I know you told me a couple of them, so it's just downright sickening. I don't need to see that stuff. I don't like hearing it,
And by the way, the one guy who rode, Miami as running back to you, no offense to you, but when's the last time they had a running back actually drafted really high in the draft? Maybe Frank Gore, Willis McGahee?
Duke Johnson.
Huh?
Duke Johnson Jr.
Is he a first-round pick, though?
He was second round, but you say that high. I mean, that's not...
okay, but before him, it's really been a while. I wouldn't call them running back you.
Miami does have one of the highest amount of NFL players though currently in the NFL.
Call them running back. I think running back you probably should be reserved for Alabama probably. They may not pan out.
I wouldn't pick Miami as running back you. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So congrats to him. Congrats to Maryland. They had 2 twins that they decommitted from Tennessee, committed to Maryland, took a trip to Florida this weekend. And it's like, if you're committed somewhere, but you're going to another college right before signing, but they came out today, said they're both committed to Maryland. One's a 4-star, one's a 3-star. So, congrats to Maryland. The thing with them is it was always their big movement this year was stay in the DMV, and they got a lot of local talent. So, I'm ready to sneeze. Okay, it went away. So,
Are you like a 3? Are you like a 3 or 4 sneezer?
Yeah, huh?
Do you only sneeze once, or do you like sneeze? If you sneeze once, you sneeze like 5 times.
Type of guy, and it's pretty loud too.
Oh, okay. I love sneezing.
So,
we're glad it passed.
Yeah. Looks like Maryland Maryland will probably stay in the top 20 recruiting, so good for them. First highest class since Ralph Friesian, and that's been a while, early 2000s. Alabama's fighting Georgia for the number one spot. Alabama's held that, I think, for what, 3 or 4 consecutive years. Right now, Georgia's number one, so we'll see what happens. So tomorrow, National Signing Day. Be on the lookout. Real quick, local DC, other DC news. The Wizards are now still back up in the 5th seed. In their last 15 games, they're 11-4. They're currently on a 4-game winning streak, playing against the New York Knicks tonight. They're down 4-0, but good job for the Wizards, man. They were in a hole for the first month of the season. Now they're climbing back up, and they're looking like a real contender. And I looked at ESPN's power rankings. They're up to 5. Pretty impressive for especially and ahead of them you have Golden State, Cleveland, San Antonio, Houston. So to be ahead of some of those other conference teams, it's really saying something about this Wizards team. Last but not least, we'll talk about the Capitals. They start back up tonight. Metropolitan Division, congrats to them for winning the All-Star game. Pretty dominant, especially when you have the line. What was it? Wayne Simmons, Crosby, and Ovechkin on one line?
It was Wayne Simmons with Taylor Hall, but from the Devils. But I forget the ones. But Wayne Simmons, congratulations to him as well on being named the MVP and returning back to LA where he first started. So. Congratulations to the whole Metropolitan team. It was just a nasty team, like you said, though, when you think about it. You had Simmons, you had Taylor Hall, you had Ovechkin, you had Crosby, you had Holtby in net. I mean,
and Holtby's were making saves left and right.
The Metropolitan just had a really star-studded team, so you expect them to win with the teams. And, that's not even including all the Rangers and the Islanders that were on that team as well. So, I mean, it was just a great team that
also,
we had
Alexander Ovechkin,
going on.
Best friends with Sidney Crosby. I think you need to rethink that a little bit, buddy. Rethink that. He's a Pittsburgh guy, so I hope you still bring the wood when you play against him. I guess Crosby must have got hit so hard he forgot Ovechkin's the one who causes concussions.
We'll see.
And also, last but not least, tennis. Roger Federer finally won another major. What was it? 18 now? 16, 18?
I think it's. Oh man, I don't have the exact number in front of me. I know it was in the mid to high teens.
I'll look it up. But and Serena Williams against Venus Williams. Serena captured her 23rd. Talk about a blast in the past, right?
Yeah.
Finals. Serena versus
she's got to be the greatest of all time.
Then Nadal versus Federer, man. It was great for the sport.
Yeah, and Venus said something really cool. I know she said something to the extent of basically every time, even though I'm not winning, every time you won, I feel like I've won since that's her sister. And I think that was, it's a true tell. Congratulations to both of them, 2 of the greats in their own right. So,
yeah. Okay, so now it's time to what everyone's been waiting for, the Super Bowl preview. Before we get there, let me explain to you one of our sponsors where you can actually pick up some great wings for the Super Bowl. BWB, Buffalo Wings and Beer in Germantown and Cloverly, Maryland. They're holding, you can go right now, get your pre-orders in, give them a slip. They'll have the wings ready for you. A great variety of wings. Paul, what's your favorite flavor?
That, Matt, would be the, Cajun with supercock on the side.
Yep.
Damn, it's
My
good.
wife likes garlic rooster. I'm a big chicken Philly cheesesteak fan of there myself. They have a great variety of
chicken Philly cheesesteak wings.
No, just Philly cheesesteak itself.
Oh, I was gonna say
chicken Philly cheesesteak.
I was gonna say that's innovative.
No, I love the Philly chicken cheesesteak. They have a great variety of drinks. They have over 24 TVs. So if you need a place to watch Super Bowl, go there. But like I said, you can pick up your pre-order. Their wings they're always award-winning sauce, and they have some pretty cool. They have pool tables, dartboard. They have a new beer pong gaming machine, which is really cool. So check that out. Buffalo Wings and Beer in Germantown and Cloverly, Maryland. Please go check them out. So let's get to it, Anthony. Patriots versus Falcons. Let's talk about the Patriots first. Let's talk about how they got here through the playoffs. So obviously they had the bye week. Yep. But even before the bye week, let's talk about how their season began. You lose Brady for, what was it, 4 games? No, 3.
4 games. No, you're right. 4 games.
Le'Veon Bell was 3.
Le'Veon Bell went down to 3, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you had 4 games, and you see the beginning of their schedule. It was Arizona, Miami, Houston, Buffalo. You're like, okay, they may have trouble the first game, maybe even the Houston game. Started off 3-1, and I believe they used a different quarterback. They almost had to every different one.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. This team started 3-1 without Tom Brady, and they had to use different quarterbacks.
They used Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett, yeah. So
the only loss was to Buffalo. They lost 0-16. Wasn't really, the best performance, but really, whenever Rex Ryan plays them, he always plays them tough. We know that.
Yeah, those divisional matchups, you always know it's going to be tough,
Yep.
no matter who it is, any division. So definitely not too big of a surprise with Brissett getting. I think that was his first start too.
So they only lose 2 games. They go 14-2 through the regular season. The other loss was to Seattle. Of course, Seattle always loves playing them tough. They basically a revenge game for Seattle from 2 years ago. I think they threw the ball I think they ran it this time when they were on the 2-yard line.
Yeah. Oh man, still can't believe that.
But I mean, the past 4 games, including the playoffs, that's how many points they've scored: 41, 35, 34, 36. So they're a hot offense, just like Atlanta. Tom Brady once again leading the charge, going for that. Was it fifth Super Bowl?
Yep, 5th. They're saying the one for the thumb. They're saying, as they call it.
He's going for the record. So we'll see if he gets it. Amazing backfield. You got LeGarrette Blount. You got Deion Lewis, James White. Who's going to get the ball? What are you do? You're going to run the ball. You're going to do screens. You got every kind of weapon that you want out there. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough game for the defensive side. You got Devin McCourty. And we saw last game their defense, they can narrow in on someone and shut him down. Antonio Brown, he got 77 yards receiving, 9-7 catch. I mean, wasn't really effective as he normally was.
A couple of those catches came later too. After the game was pretty much out of hand. So,
and then let's talk about the receivers for New England. Chris Hogan's come out of nowhere. Julian Edelman. Then you got, Gronk goes down. We're screwed. That's all right. They went and signed Martellus Bennett during the offseason. Turned out to be a huge signing. You always got Amendola. So, I mean, this team is set.
And a guy you're forgetting that you have to remember that I think could be really hasn't made himself known yet is Michael Floyd, who they signed from the Cardinals after he was cut. But is he going to
be active? That's the question.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A guy that, if he becomes active, could be a huge, X factor in this game on Sunday. So that'll be something to watch. But, yeah, like you said, these guys are working together, the group of the receivers. There's not really a guy that, stands out as an elite receiver, but they get the job done. And Chris Hogan has really done well there, I think, coming from coming from Buffalo. So we'll have to see how that pans out for them on the receiving core. But I think Michael Floyd, like I said, could be a big addition if they can get him active for the game on Sunday, if he does end up being active.
Yeah. Real quick. Plug this in real quick. I forgot to mention this. Wizards are going for 15 in a row at home tonight. It'll be a tied the franchise record. So plug that in real quick. Sorry to mention that. Wizards are going for 15 in a row at home. So good luck to them. So let's get back to it. So on the defensive side, you got by the way, first on the defensive side, Jamie Collins went from playing, could have been on the Super Bowl team. Now he's on the last place team. Sucks for him, but he just got paid though, didn't he?
He did. He just signed an extension. Yep, he did. So, I think it was like 4 years, $50 million or something like that.
But on the defensive side, you got Devin McCourty, who I think we can mostly almost guarantee is going to play over the top on whoever's on Julio. Did the same thing against Antonio Brown, shut him down. Malcolm Butler, we'll see the big matchup one-on-one with Brown.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, Patrick Chung, Chris Long, how do you say that one? Ninkovich.
Yes.
I was close.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Ryan. So this is
yeah.
good.
Logan Ryan's another guy that I think has been very good, low key. Not really talked about much, but I think Logan Ryan's played great on man coverage on the opposite side. So the New England's team overall, I think when you talk about it, no one really gives them the respect that they're the top in the defense, but on the defensive side, they're very good. They're a very good team.
Yep. So let's move over to the NFC side. We have what was that, Paul? Something going on?
You're good.
Yeah, no, I just brought up the chat thing, and it just was in your area.
Trying to cut out my pretty face. Thanks. So let's go on the Atlanta side now. Now we have Matty Ice. Matt Ryan, probably going to be the MVP of the league. Can we argue about that?
No, I mean, I think to this point, I think he makes the biggest difference for his team. So I think without him, you don't necessarily that the Falcons aren't necessarily where they are right now. So I agree, and his numbers back it up. So,
yep, so that's probably going to be the MVP of the league. Then you got, as we say, well, before we get to play, let's talk about how they got there.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I was reading a message.
Yep. So
they get there. They start off the season lose the first game to Tampa Bay. Looks like it's going to be another, oh, well, they have the talent, but they're not going to get there. Then they, 4 in a row, 4-1, sitting really nice. Lose the Nets 2, 4-3. Uh-oh. Usually they're a team that gets hot, and then they go really cold. Then they bounce back for 2 more. Loss, win, loss, and then end of the season, including the playoffs, 6-game win streak, including the 6-game win streak. This is we talked about New England with their scores. This is Atlanta. 42, 41, 33, 38, 36, 44. I mean,
yeah, I think they had the highest scoring offense in the NFL.
They do. And I think New England's second.
Yeah.
So this is going to be, and the thing is, with these high scoring games, their defense has also stepped up. Obviously 2 of them were against Los Angeles, San Francisco, but
their
Green
defense
Bay,
has stepped up against Green Bay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Green Bay had a high power offense, shut them down.
Yep.
Seattle's offense was playing a lot better. Didn't do much.
No, that's what I think it's going to, when we'll talk about defense, I think when we talk more about the breakdown of the game, but the defense is going to be a big difference here between the 2 teams. So
let's talk about their offensive players first. Matt Ryan.
Yep.
4,900 yards, a little bit over that. 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Devontae Freeman, 11 touchdowns on the run. But then Trevor Coleman, 8 touchdowns running the ball. So that's impressive for these 2 guys.
Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman have to be the best backfield in the NFL combined. The 2 of them, I think the 1-2 punch. I don't know if you have a better one.
You can almost say LeGarrette Blount with those 3 are also just as good.
I think because those 2 are more effective at running and receiving. As opposed to the Patriots, LeGarrette Blount's mainly going to be the every down running back, and then Dion's going to be out of the backfield. So that's why I say Coleman and Freeman can do both.
Then you go to their receivers. Julio Jones, Sanu, Gabriel, who came out of nowhere to have a good season. Then as we get to it, Freeman, Coleman, Allen Robinson. So, and the thing with Matt Ryan is
Aldrick Robinson.
Aldrick, yeah, he was former Redskins.
Yeah.
Used to love to catch the deep balls from RG3. Rest in peace, RG3. But
that's terrible. His career, maybe, not him.
I meant
Don't
that
say
was
that.
for his career.
He's coming back with Cleveland next year. He'll be all right.
No, because they're going to get Kirk Cousins in a trade.
No, we'll see. I've heard Garoppolo now being talked about too, but that's besides the point.
Let's get off of that. So Matt Ryan, as you can almost say, he's almost molding this season after what Drew Brees did his whole career. He passed the ball around. Julio had 1,400 yards, but only 6 touchdowns. So he's been passing the ball around, and it's so hard to find any holes in this offense. It really is.
Yeah, and you look at the tight ends. There's really no standout tight end. It's a lot of guys that are, Toyalalu and Hooper. That there's no big name tight end like when they had Tony Gonzalez there for those towards the end of his career. They don't have that big name other than Julio Jones on any of those guys. So that he spreads the ball very efficiently. I remember there was a game, he started the game, I think he had 9 completions to 9 different receivers. And that tells you a lot about how Matt Ryan is throwing the ball. It reminds me a lot of how Tom Brady played when they were on their first couple Super Bowl runs where he had, a lot of unproven guys at the time with, Deion Branch, David Givens, and Troy Brown, and guys of that during that time, where they weren't really big name receivers. So it would be interesting to see how he continues to do that on Sunday against the Patriots.
Well, here's I was thinking about it. But before we get to the matchups, let's switch to the defense now. Dwight Freeney's got to be someone who's really, helped out this defense, especially the veteran, everything he's done all the years. And then you have I was about to say Fowler again, Vic Beasley Jr.
Yep.
Great bounce back year. I believe he wasn't as effective he was last year. This year he'd really stepped it up. So they got a lot of this defense definitely improved a lot from what it was a year ago.
Desmond Trufant at corner is really good.
Yep.
They got a couple of stars on that team, man. I feel like we're missing a few players still, but some of those guys, the notable guys I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a very I want to say it's going to be a very competitive game in terms of I think we could see both teams put up more than 30 points.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a high scoring game which people loves in the Super Bowl. Won't be last year was a little bit of a snooze fest, took a little break. Defense won the championship last year. I think this year is going to be the offense that wins the championship.
I think that this is going to come down to who can make the stop with the way these offenses are playing. Who makes that one stop.
Yeah.
The offense is going to be scoring, but defense wins championships, like they said.
So let's go ahead and let's talk about the key matchups for this game. Let's start.
Before we do that, why don't we do this? If you go, let's break it down position by position. If you go quarterback, who do you give the edge to? Do you give it to Matt Ryan or do you give it to Tom Brady?
It's so
right
hard.
Now, not overall. Exactly. Right now. That's what we're talking about. In this game. Not who's got the better career, because obviously you go Tom Brady. If you're in this game, who are you feeling more confident in?
Matt
if you're
Ryan,
picking
he's
right
got the
now.
hot hand.
I go with TB12.
Okay.
So that's where running backs. I go with the Falcons.
Falcons.
Okay. So you have 2 to the Falcons, I have 1 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Receivers, who do you give it to?
Julio Jones, man.
Yeah, I give it to Atlanta again. That's what I'm saying, because of Julio Jones.
I got 3.
And then Mohamed Sanu and Taylor Gabriel have been playing great. So that's what I'm saying. I think that you give it to Atlanta. Tight end, I give it to the Patriots. Martellus Bennett.
Yeah.
And then you go defense, I go to the Patriots again. Exactly. So
I got 3 too.
Yeah, and
I think you have 3-2 the other way, don't you? Yeah.
I have 3-2 for the Patriots. Yeah.
So look,
that's what I'm saying. It's a very close, and quarterback. It's a close call. It's not like a guarantee either way. And all these are pretty close. The only one I think that's not the close. I think the defense is just the Patriots tilt more towards them, and the tight end. I'd say probably the only 2 that are pretty much closer.
Let me show you real quick. They have the stats right here. They have yards per game for most of all the things. Brady 301 yards per game. Matt Ryan 315. Rushing LeGarrette Blount 68.
And remember, Brady's average is on less games than Ryan. So
Freeman 64 yards. So neck and neck. Receiving, obviously Julio 103, Edelman only 75. So I mean, Beasley had 15 sacks. The sack leader for New England only had 7 with Flowers. So I mean, the stats are they're just this way.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be the key matchups.
Yeah, and you want to go first? What's your key matchup?
My key matchup right now is going to be Malcolm Butler and Devin McCourty versus Julio Jones. And they did the same thing to Antonio Brown, but I think this is the big difference between Brown and Julio. Brown is, if he can get off of you, he'll get open. Julio has that breakaway speed if he gets in the open, but he's physical. Even if you put 2 guys on him, he has the ability to go up and still come down with that ball. I think that's going to be the big difference between them maybe double teaming Brown to Julio, because I don't think Brown, he's not a go up and get type of receiver. He's going to beat you in space. He's not someone where if he's triple coverage, you can't be a quarterback that can just heave the ball. Julio, Des Bryant, Odell Beckham Jr., they're all in a different category where if you throw a ball up in the air, they can come down with it. A.J. Green, there's not many receivers that can do that in the NFL. Julio's one of those guys where if Ryan's in trouble and scrambling and he sees Julio deep, and he sees 1 or 2 guys, he can take that chance.
Take the shot, yep.
And even if Julio doesn't come with it, he's so physical he can maybe swat it down to make sure the other guys don't get it.
Yeah,
so my key match is going to be those 2 guys on Julio. Now for you, what's your big key matchup?
I agree that's one I was going to say in Taylor Gabriel, but I'm going to go the opposite side just for purposes of having something different than you. I'm going to say that the Falcons' defensive line, Dwight Freeney, Vic Beasley, against the offensive line, if you can get to Tom Brady and you can get him rattled, that's the way to beat him. If you watched, and I hate to do this. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're a Giants fan." That's why. If you watch those Super Bowls where Brady lost, the Giants were putting constant pressure on him and getting him on the ground. If you can get Brady in that element where he doesn't have time to sit back and pick apart the defense, and you can get him to where he's got to start making quicker throws, you'll get an advantage. And I think if the Falcons' defensive front can get in on Brady early in the game, it could become a very, very, very long night for Tom Brady. So I think that's a key matchup, is the Falcons' defensive front against the Patriots' offensive line and getting to Brady. To go opposite of, like you said, because you had an Atlanta offense versus New England's defense in your matchup.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that. You mentioned that team. What about what the Texans did earlier in the playoffs? Javanian Clowney and all of them. Clowney got a couple of good shots on Brady, and he
but that game wasn't close. That game got out of hand.
It wasn't, but I'm just saying it was the first.
I'm saying you get pressure on him, it's going to help. But
that's
you
what
have
I'm trying to say is Clowney got pressure
looks.
on him, and he was getting rattled with throwing the ball. And I tell you what, a better quarterback that game for Texans, that game could be different.
Right, but also that's the other thing you have to remember what you're saying. You're saying Jadeveon Clowney, not the Houston Texans. And that's the thing is you have to throw multiple looks at him. You can't just always have the same guy getting back there because eventually they'll double it. They'll stop it from him being it. The thing with, when you looked at Strahan was going back there, Umanura was going back there. The Giants were throwing 4 defensive ends on the line and taking their defensive tackles out and throwing, the NASCAR defense, as they called it, and blitzing him and then throwing linebackers, throwing a safety. That's what you have to do to keep him on his toes. And I think if they can do that, it could be a very, very, like I said, it could be a very long night for Tom Brady. You have to constantly throw different packages at him. You can't throw the same guy. And Vic Beasley Jr., like you said, 15 sacks, awesome talent. And Dwight Freeney, he's played Tom Brady time and time again being with the Colts. So I'm looking forward to that matchup because these are guys that are going to have to get after the quarterback.
Okay, I got another matchup for you.
All right.
Let me I need to look up this guy's name real quick.
Oh, geez. You don't even know the guy's name and you got him as a matchup?
No one really knows the coaching staff names.
Oh, coaching?
Here it is.
Look at you.
Here it is. Yeah, I got one for you. Kyle Shanahan versus Matt Patricia.
Matt Patricia? You're talking about the defensive guy for the Patriots?
There you go. There's a matchup for you. How does he go up against the defense of the Patriots defense versus I think the entire game plan. Same, you can reverse it the other way. Josh McDaniels versus I don't know, Falcons defensive coordinator. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure who it is.
I'll look it up. But you can go with that too, the battles of the coordinators, because you got to think the Falcons defense, you got to look at that defense the Steelers ran, that zone coverage doesn't work against Brady.
It's not going to work.
So those defensive backs, they got to stay in their areas. Because if you let one of these, I'm going to say it on air, one of these white boys get open, they're going to catch the ball.
Yeah.
There's some bad boys.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Man, I'm saying, as Stephen A. would say, there's some bad men out there.
Jeez.
Hey.
You're not. No, I mean, you're. That's what I'm saying. You can't give this guy time. That's why I'm telling you, it's a huge thing. You got to get him on the ground. I haven't really seen Matt Ryan get after yet either. So let's see what happens with him if he starts to get pressure. But I think Matt Ryan's more mobile than Brady is. So if he has to, he can get outside the pocket. So.
Richard Smith is their defensive coordinator. There we go.
I would never have gotten that. So
I wouldn't either. So Smith versus Josh McDaniels, and this is also, speaking of Kyle Shanahan, this is probably his last game as a Falcon. I'm sure he wants to go out on top because, tell you what, he probably won't be sniffing the playoffs for quite a while after this.
No, not especially with the virtual. You don't even know who your quarterback is at this moment. So
we know who he wants though, but we'll save that for another day.
Yes, we'll save that for another time.
So there's a lot of key matchups, definitely. Now, we talked about
the X factor. You always got to talk about, though, man. You talked about the coaching staff. No, Bill Belichick. Arguably
had
the
2
greatest
weeks
coach.
To prepare.
If you count, they were showing this stat. It was this crazy stat. As a coach, whether it was assistant or head coach, and there's been 51 Super Bowls, he's been in over 10% of them. I think it was closer to 20. Because he's been in 7 just with Brady, and he was in another 2 with Bledsoe, right?
Yep.
And then he was in another 2 as the Giants assistant coach. So he's been in as an assistant and and as a head coach. He's been in 11 Super Bowls. That's crazy. He's got the experience.
So I'm just saying this. Kyle Shanahan, apparently someone mistook his what was it? I guess book bag or whatever. His offensive playbook was in there. So I don't I'm not throwing shades at the Patriots, but it's kind of conveniently his thing disappears the week of the Super Bowl. Just saying. But okay, now let's go to, we know Julio, we know Matt Ryan, we know about Brady. Let's first go with the Patriots. Who's your one playmaker that, not a big-time guy, that may have to step up in the Super Bowl for the Patriots?
I told you if he can play somehow, I think he's the player. But since there's no guarantee yet that Floyd's playing, and there hasn't been much discussion, that's tough to say because you said not big name. Not a starter, you're saying, or just someone that's not
someone that everyone a household name.
I think Julian Edelman has to play on. I think Julian Edelman has to have a big game.
How about this? We'll take out like the Tom Brady.
Okay, I'm not going to use Brady. Okay, so no Brady.
Edelman's pretty obvious.
I think the difference maker here could be Martellus Bennett.
Okay.
I think Martellus Bennett could be a big deal, to exploit maybe a mismatch with him at tight end against, especially if they put him against linebackers.
That was weird. Sorry.
All right, rest in
okay.
peace to Jose Fernandez
Rest in
and
peace to
Arnold Palmer
Jose
again.
and Arnold Palmer, though. Yes, absolutely.
Must be Patriots.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I go Martellus Bennett because you said I would have used Dion Lewis too, especially out of the backfield. But I'll stick with someone that maybe hasn't had such a huge, impact that could have a huge impact on Sunday.
I'm gonna steal someone for the Patriots that you said. I'm going the defensive side. I'm going with Logan Ryan.
There you go. Logan Ryan's the man.
Everyone knows Malcolm Butler. I said Bucker.
Oh, I thought you
Butler.
said on the offensive side. I didn't realize you said the whole
You
team.
can do either side.
Okay, well that's fine.
I'm gonna go with Logan Ryan because I feel like if they just keep Butler on one side, Ryan's gonna get matched up with Julio a couple times. I'm sure he will throughout the game. He's got to play his game. Got to stay with them. Don't let Julio get in your head. And also, he's going against the other receivers. So I'm gonna say Logan Ryan on the opposite of Malcolm Butler's got to play shutdown defense. This is where Malcolm Butler's Super Bowl, if you remember, a couple years ago, where he became famous.
Yeah,
he's the
that's
guy.
where he made it happen. Yep.
This is gonna be Logan Ryan's turn. So let's go to the Falcons. Who's the guy that's gonna make a difference?
You want to go first?
You want me to go first on this one?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh man,
See,
throw me on the
take my
spot
guy.
here. I have a chance to look yet.
All right, I got it. I have Taylor Gabriel.
There you go.
I take Taylor Gabriel, a guy time and time again that's made the play, and I've talked about it every week because he keeps making that play that helps. Whether it's he gets that 2-yard swing pass and then takes it for 30. Taylor Gabriel here in the slot is going to be the difference for the Falcons in this game. If he can start making those plays and getting Julio open, and Sanu and Aldrick Robinson and all these other guys, if he can start making that to that angle and doing what he has to do to be efficient, I think that could be a huge advantage for the Falcons offense to have Taylor Gabriel going. And also a little quick fact, a lot of people always hate on the Cleveland Browns, but the Cleveland Browns actually have the most former players playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday with 5. So I thought that was pretty cool to see that out of any NFL team, they have the most former players. So when people say the team's horrible, it's not the talent that's there. It's the franchise.
All right, I got a cornerback name for you. He started 16 games, 2 interceptions, really, really low. Robert Alford. I think he's one of the starters.
Oh, Robert Alford's awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't even think to say. I knew we were missing people early. Him and Desmond Trufant.
Alford, you got to stay with those wide receivers from New England. You let them go, they're gonna get open. And then also, you can also mention whoever's playing tight end for the Falcons. Got to step it up for Matt Ryan. He needs a fail-safe guy out there.
I agree.
So, talked about the X factor, talked about the key matchups, talked about real quick before we get going. Who do you think had the easier road to the Super Bowl, and who do you think had the tougher road to the Super Bowl? Let's go with that. That should be kind of fun. Before we do our prediction, do you think the Patriots had an easier road than the Falcons?
Getting to the Super Bowl is not an easy challenge, regardless of the fact you have to go through 16 games. You got to make the playoffs. If you have to make it, if you make me look on paper and you tell me like when I look at the schedules, yeah, I'm gonna pick the Patriots, that they had the easier road, because the Texans, I really don't think were a team that really should have been there. And if Oakland was full health and that's Derek Carr, we might not be even talking about the Patriots right now. You know what I mean?
I would have loved to see what Matt could have done.
So I would have loved to have seen what Derek Carr would have done in that game. So I think that Houston pretty much, got that win in the bag, and that put them onto the next round. So the only game that the Patriots really had that was tough was the Steelers, and the Steelers really just didn't show up this past week. 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to go with them. The Falcons had to play the Packers, and they had to play the Seahawks to get here. So it wasn't very necessarily an easy road for them either, but I give the Patriots that they had a little bit of an easier road due to that Texans game.
I agree. I think the Falcons had the harder road, especially with even the scheduling. You can go by conference or division. Even a lot of people say if Brady wins another division, he wouldn't do this. First off, that's bullcrap. He still would have I think he would still make a Super Bowl wherever he was.
Yeah.
Wherever the Patriots would play. But I'm gonna go Falcons had the harder road. Especially even with a down year in the South, you still got to play Tampa twice, New Orleans twice, Carolina twice. I know New Orleans, Carolina had a very down year. Tampa's up and rising. That's still no easy task. All those teams played hard in that division. So yes, I think the Falcons had the harder road, but I mean both these teams turned it on at the right time, especially the Falcons. So
100%.
think it's time, man. It's time for the prediction. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Paul, do you got any like cool music, like I don't know, something? I don't know.
I can hum it.
Really, what was that? Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Something crazy.
What about Paul? Paul, do you have a prediction on who's winning the Super Bowl on Sunday?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just gonna be. I think it's just Brady's gonna do it.
No. Don't say that just because it's Brady.
No, I mean,
I go next.
He's just. I mean, do you? I don't know.
It's hard to root against them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you kind of always. I mean, almost want to do the under. I don't know who's underdog actually in the.
The Falcons
Atlanta,
are.
New England's they're giving New
England's a favorite.
Right now. -3. So it's close.
Yeah, I don't know. Tough. That's
Tough.
a tough call. Yeah. Did they meet?
Matt
before?
Meary?
No, they didn't.
No, they haven't. They have not.
New
met
England's
before.
-3. The
Not today.
over/under is 58.5.
In their career of playing each other, Tom Brady is 2-0 against Matt Ryan.
Okay.
But they have not met this season.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean, it'd be tough for me to not bet on Brady.
TB12.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anthony, I'll let you take the honor, sir.
Yeah. I agree with Paul. My prediction is that the Patriots win the Super Bowl 51. Brady gets his 5th Super Bowl. And no, he does not retire after he wins the Super Bowl. I know a lot of people are saying he wins and he goes out. Tom Brady's not near being done yet. This is not going to be an easy game. So don't take how I said that the Patriots win, and that's why I'm saying that it's like, oh, it's an easy. No, this is going to be a tough game. I feel like it's going to go to the 4th quarter, and I feel like that's where the Patriots' experience might get them to pull away. But it's not going to be, some team dominating the whole game and no one ever gets back in it. I think that this is going to be you've seen it. These guys are gunslingers, man. They got big arms. So you're going to see touchdown for touchdown probably for a while. But yeah, I'm going to go with Tom Brady and the Patriots to win number 5. And to solidify maybe Tom Brady as the greatest of all time, right there with Joe Montana. So, Matt?
Went back and forth on this, but I am going to agree with Guillermo in the chat. I'm going with the Dirty Birds from the ATL. I'm picking the Falcons to win this game. Final score, put in the books, 41-31. X factor's going to be Bryant, the kicker. I'm just kidding.
If we had to put a score on it, I'll go 38-27 in favor of the.
So we're taking 10-point victories almost.
Yeah,
I like the MVP. He's going to be the MVP for a reason. I like Julio for some reason. I think Julio is going to show up. He's had 2 weeks to heal, and I think the running back duo is going to be a lot better. And you may see some formations where they're both in the backfield.
Yeah, no, I think that they'll do a split back or something like that. There's going to be some formations you're going to see, but I just think at the end of the day, the Patriots defense is just a little bit better than the Falcons. Not to take away from the Falcons. I think the Falcons have a lot of talent there, but I think their defense and those guys being there before might be that give them the edge. And of course, like I said, Tom Brady on the other side of the football really helps matters.
So there's our predictions. We have 2 for the Patriots, 1 for Atlanta. Guillermo can make 2 for Atlanta, and I believe Chris. I gotta find his sheet. I think this was the Super Bowl he had, I believe.
Was it really? Good for Chris. Congratulations.
Yes, this is the Super Bowl that Chris had, and Chris had New England over Atlanta.
Did he have a score or no?
No, we didn't pick the score. So Chris is taking New England. So out of everyone on the show, I'm the only one picking Atlanta, so I'm the crazy one.
That's fair. Chris might have changed his prediction too. You never know, based on what he sees fit. But at least he picked it from the beginning before the playoffs started. He had New England and Atlanta. So hats off to him.
Yeah. Or you're going to be a genius. So
I hope I'm a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I have to watch the game carefully because I'm still in it for the money for my pick'em league because my 2 teams didn't make it. But the fact that I went, what was that? I think I was 8-0 before I was undefeated. So luckily no one else was that high. So if I can win the points at least, I'll still get I think $50. So that works for me. I'll double what I had.
Fair enough.
So I think that's gonna do it today. I mean, next week obviously we'll review the Super Bowl,
Or
Obviously.
break down signing day probably too.
Huh?
Break down some of signing day.
Break
since
down
it's,
some
what
of
is
the
it? Is it
recruits
tomorrow?
also.
It takes place, right?
Huh?
Tomorrow's signing day, right?
Yes, tomorrow's signing day.
Okay.
You know, all these things will have specials throughout the day on who's signing or whatnot. Next week, we'll be back Tuesday. Next week, let me confirm this before I second guess myself. Yes, next week is the final episode that will be on Tuesday. The following week, the week of the 13th, we will start on Thursday the 16th because I'm going back to school. Paul, you said you're okay with that, correct?
Yeah. Sorry. What was that? What am I
Switching to
agreeing to?
Thursday in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. That's fine.
Anthony, I hope you're able to talk to your work.
We'll see. I can't confirm yet, but I will say that I will do my best to be there on Thursday.
I hope so. We need you.
Following Thursdays.
We need you, buddy. So that's it, man. One more week of football season, then we're going to start getting to more mock drafts. What?
One more week of football. Sad.
We'll start
see you
getting some
go.
mock drafts. I did one last week when I was by myself. So, Anthony, you and Chris better start looking at some first round, doing a complete first round mock. I want all of it.
All right. Sounds good.
Start getting to that. And, Anthony, you know what's right around the corner, right?
What's that?
Baseball season.
I know it.
We got that going on. So, get ready for some big. Just because football's ending doesn't mean we're going to slow down. We're going to keep coming at you. So, Paul, take it away.
All right, man. Thanks, everyone, for watching, listening. Can you guys hear me? Good. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for watching the Shipes Sports Talk Show. And make sure you visit us on Facebook. It's Facebook/Shipe Sports Talk. Twitter is @Shipe Sports Talk. And email us your comments, your predictions, anything at shipesportstalk@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us, all the social media. That way you never miss when an episode's coming out and any events that might be going on. So that's all I got.
So, Monday night, you can check out me and Anthony on OT3 as always, 7 o'clock sharp. We'll be getting ready for the Elimination Chamber. Next Tuesday, we'll be back. Me, myself, and I. Me, Anthony, and Chris, and Paul will be back to break down the Super Bowl.
For our final Tuesday show, right?
Yep, our final Super Bowl. Maybe we'll do half Super Bowl, then we'll do a half mock draft. Let's do that next week, Super Bowl and a mock draft show.
Okay.
It'll be a good show next week. And then, like I said, after that, start on Thursdays. And also, stay tuned. We may have a special announcement this week about a special show. No commitments yet, but just stay tuned for that. I think, Paul, we can tell them that to stay tuned just in case.
Yep. What's that? Sorry?
I told them to stay tuned. We may have a special announcement maybe for a show this weekend. So just
Oh,
stay
yeah.
tuned.
Right on. You got it.
Not
Right.
100%, just stay tuned. So that's going to do it. So for myself, Anthony, Paul, have a great evening and enjoy the Super Bowl. And don't forget, if you're going to get wings for Super Bowl, you go to Buffalo Wings and Beer in Germantown and Cloverly, Maryland.
Good luck to the Super Bowl teams.
Good luck. Go Falcons.
And go Knights tomorrow on signing day.
All right. See ya.